Message today is by Jeanie Ward. Thank you for coming, Jeanie.
Let me get situated here. Just slide this over. Okay, great. I like to move around, so if you see me sashaying back and forth to the podium for a couple notes, just you can move with me, right? All right. Thank you for showing up this morning. Oh my goodness, hi there. I see some familiar faces, and I'm so delighted. I'm honored. Louise, thank you for reaching out to me yesterday. And let's offer a prayer to Reverend Jessie that she is whole and well already, and that she is back here to impart her amazing wisdom and let her light shine among each and every one of you. Oh boy, we get to talk about peace. Jessie said, Jeanie, my talk's about peace, the music was about peace, and I thought, hey, that's one of my favorite topics. So I am delighted to co-create with each and every one of you this morning. And maybe we could have a love-in or a sit-in, and we could have peace signs, and we could just really resurrect that energy that is already within us. You know, there's a quick story I want to share with you back during the holidays, and I shared this elsewhere, and it was really rather funny, I thought, and hopefully you'll find it funny and perhaps entertaining, because I like to interject a bit of humor, because we can get very serious on our spiritual path, and God's like, lighten up, guys, lighten up. Anyway, I was getting ready to do a talk on peace, and oftentimes I will take the word, you know, sometimes you'll see it in wood or gold or whatever, and I like to set it right here so you can kind of have that in your mind. So back during the holidays, I was looking around, and I was like, okay, there's got to be a peace sign. I don't mean a peace sign, but, you know, just a word that says peace. And I thought, okay, great. So I set out on my journey to find peace. I'm telling you what, 2 hours later, and I live in Marietta, and there's lots of stores around, so there's lots of places to go, right? Everywhere I'm looking for peace. I can't find it. I could have brought you spiritual cliches out the wazoo, every clever thing you ever hear, and I thought, I saw love, I saw faith, I saw belief. Peace was nowhere to be found. And then I started laughing. After exhausting myself, going through traffic and everything, I thought, what are you doing? And I thought, oh, of course. You're never going to find peace out there. It's right here. There you have it. So if you find yourself sometimes looking for peace, stop. Call me. No. I'll remind you. Take a breath. And like we did in the meditation, I like the analogy of allowing God, the God of your understanding, to breathe you. Because then we can really commune with that energy and that consciousness and allow ourselves, if we choose, I'll interject that, if we choose to relax into that energy. Because we're energy beings, are we not? Spiritual beings having what? A human experience. I remember the first time I heard that when I started dabbling a little bit in unity teachings roughly 20 plus years ago. And I thought, what is that all about? A spiritual being having a human experience. Because I kind of grew up Baptist-y. You like that word, Baptist-y? My mom was Russian Orthodox. She was born in China, okay? Her family escaped communism and fled into China. 7 kids were born in Russia, 2 were born in China. So she grew up for the first 25 years in China. My dad was born in Alabama, raised in Texas. Fundamental Baptist, woohoo! Okay, and I say that, trust me, there's nothing negative about what I'm saying. It's just like, wow, okay. So needless to say, it was quite the conundrum. And my brother, he's an attorney in Marietta, and he and I used to talk like, I guess we turned out all right, didn't we? You know, perhaps we kind of found our way, and he actually considers himself an agnostic, you know, and that's cool. I'm not here to tell him what his path needs to look like. So for me, I struggled a lot throughout my life trying to tap into, as we say in Unity, the God of my understanding. I was trying to find peace, and I didn't even know that that's what I was looking for, because the family that I grew up in was extremely dysfunctional. My mom really struggled with how to be in this culture, especially coming to this country in 1948, speaking Russian, okay, on an Air Force base, okay, and my dad basically saying, okay, now that you're here, here's the Bible. This is what you're here to learn. And for her, and I carry her in my heart. Now, she passed away about 18 years ago. And I carry her in my heart because I know for her it was like a deer in headlights. And peace was certainly not something that she was able to access. And she struggled her whole life. She ultimately became an alcoholic. And that was the way she coped. But we all have our journey. We all have our stories. And to me, it doesn't matter what it looks like. What matters is what we do with it, how we're able to hold it today, and to see it through a different lens, through a different perspective. Last year, I did a talk on Mother's Day. It was called She Did the Best She Could. She did the best she could. And I remember a few years ago when I heard that, we're all doing the best we can in any moment with the consciousness from which we are embodying and living. And at first I thought, that's just a cop-out. I really did. And then I thought, well, your inner critic is active, right? Your perfectionistic self is really going after you right now, So after a while I thought, you know what? As I have continued to grow and am still growing, will always be growing and expanding in my own understanding and spiritual maturity, sometimes very immature, but spiritual maturity, it's being able to open myself up to a higher understanding and a higher vision so that I can already know right here and now, like every single one of you beautiful faces of God in these beautiful bodies, that we are already peace. We are already the embodiment of it. Whether we recognize it, feel it, know it or not, it just is what it is. And in any moment, you can go, So I'm going to have you have that moment now. Right now, how peaceful are you this morning? On a scale of 1 to 10, and you don't have to put up a number or anything. On a scale of 1 to 10, so let's just use that. How peaceful are you? 1, not so much, and 10 being, I'm in a Zen moment here, Jeanie. I'm good, right? Just notice for yourself, where are you? Okay? Because if we are not aware of that, if we are not present with that, boy, you guys are really far away now. Whew. If you're not aware, how are you going to change it? How are you going to have the presence of mind and heart to say, something's off here? This is not the vibration, if you will, or the place from which I want to live my life. Because my personal belief is that this is what we signed up for. Next time, if you're not sure, you got to check that fine print. When you sign that contract, and you say, okay, I'm going to go to Earth, and this is what I'm going to do. So we are here to be that vessel, to be that voice for love, for peace, for compassion, for understanding. And if we are not aware of where we are, because what? Peace begins with us. The Unity song, let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me, right? So if I'm asleep or I'm unconscious, right, about where I am in that, how am I going to be an open vessel, all right, for that energy to flow through me, for that expression of the Christ light to just flow from me and shine and radiate in all the fullness that it can? I won't be able to do that. And I want you to hear this with me this morning, that it is a privilege, is my personal belief, to stand here this morning in front of you, and it is a privilege for every single one of you to be where you are right now in this body, to have the opportunity to say, yeah, I signed up for this. I volunteered for this, to be that divine expression on planet Earth in this time and dimension. Do you realize how privileged you are? If you don't, I really invite you to just feel into that. And you may go, oh, I don't know that I can. It feels a little awkward. That's okay. It's okay if it feels awkward. Sometimes it needs to feel awkward, because then it's going to get our attention, is it not? When it feels uncomfortable, we're going to pay attention. When life happens, and you're like, oh, how do I find peace with this? What do I do with this? In the chaos and the confusion, what do I do with all of it? How do I find my center? How do I access peace? As an energy being, you know, you're broadcasting something all the time. I'll try to pick it up next time and see if I can tune into what's going on with you, right? But you're broadcasting something all the time. So in order for you to broadcast, I'm not a computer person, but I think this is right. Your bandwidth, would that be good? Do you have a wide bandwidth? Would that be an appropriate way to put that? So that it is just inexhaustible. It is endless. That's when you know in that moment that, yeah, God, come on. I am here for you. I am wide and open, and I know in the deepest part of my core that I am here. Not to fix anybody, not to change anybody, not to judge or criticize or point fingers or any of those things, but I am here to be the greatest version that you have created me to be. Wow! That's amazing. You never had any idea when you signed up what you were signing up for, did you? Right? Okay. I know sometimes I go, God, are you sure? Are you sure this is what you had in mind for me? I don't know. I don't know. So when those moments happen, as I said a minute ago, and we're not quite sure what to do, I love this quote. Many of you are probably familiar with Viktor Frankl, right? Okay, in the concentration camps and such. It says, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and freedom. Breathe into that. When something happens, are you aware of how you are reacting, responding, or are you even conscious of what is happening within you in that moment? You know, we have fight, flight, freeze. So when you're navigating life's highways and something knocks you off your path, or it stuns you, or whatever it is that happens, what is your response or reaction? That's a good measure for you to know where you are. Because peace is going to be very palpable for you. You won't have to try to find it so much as almost remember that, knowing that oh, yeah, okay, life is happening, but it's not happening to me. It's really happening for me. It's happening to wake me up because I have called it forth. I have called it forth. And that's not in a way of saying, oh, you get the law of attraction and you hear all these different kinds of things, and that's a whole other conversation to me, because I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about that, is my personal opinion. But anyway, we've called it forth insofar as your soul's evolution and your soul's journey. That's how I'm going to language that for you this morning, because there's a higher calling that you're here to aspire to. And our beautiful ego goes, no, 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 no. You want to stay down here because I need to be the master of all, right? You know what I'm talking about. So as we continue on that path and we become more aware of, like I said earlier, where are you on that scale of 1 to 10? If I gave you a spiritual fitness test this morning, would you pass? You go, what does that even mean, Jeanie? I'll just put it like this. Have you been to the spiritual fitness gym lately? Okay, right? Okay, everybody, we're going to drop down and do some push-ups, okay? All right, because it can feel like a lot of work sometimes, right? It can be exhausting. And that typically happens when we pinch ourselves off a little bit. We're never really disconnected, even though it can certainly feel that way. And we talk about separation, but we're never really pinched off, because how could God pinch God off from God? It's us in our thinking and in our BS, that's what I call it, our belief system, okay? It's that subconscious stuff that gets going, and it has us convinced that we are less than. It has us convinced that all this stuff is just a bunch of baloney. And so what is ours to do is to make a U-turn. To make a U-turn. And come back to that universal Christ. To go back within and remember. Embodying peace is simply about remembering the truth of not just who, but what you are. Remember? I could go around and we all hugged and we did all that kind of stuff. Wasn't that great? But what were you feeling beside somebody's body when you touched them? Energy. Presence. Start paying attention. Start noticing how you are affected and how you are affecting energy out there. Is it peaceful? Is it kind? I like kindfulness. That's why I love that word. All these kinds of fullness words. Everything's fullness. Foodfulness. I love food. Foodfulness. We like that? Okay. Start paying attention to what is right here and now. What you are experiencing. Our body, we are incarnated for a reason. Yeah, because we're down here to, I said earlier, be that expression. But our body is such a beautiful barometer. It's always communicating something to us through sensation, through maybe an owie. There's going to be a sensation. Maybe through a thought that's like, oh, something just wafted through my thought stream, and it wasn't good. Because we have the thought, and then there's going to be what? An emotion that's going to follow that. I don't think sometimes we realize how amazing we were crafted and created. I mean, sometimes when I teach meditation and mindfulness, and sometimes there's meditations, I'm like, okay, I'm not here anymore. I'm really transcending. And it's almost like an out-of-body type thing that goes on. That's like Jesus. Supernatural. Supernatural. the Prince of Peace. So when you encounter those moments and you bump up against things, peace be still. Peace be still. What is that all about? Faith, perhaps? And the sea is calmed. Peace be still. Know that I am. That's you, guys. That's you. In those moments when it's scary or frightening, disconcerting, perplexing, whatever word you want to use, you know what it feels like. I know you do. Somebody's chuckling because, yeah, we sure as heck know what that feels like. And there's a lot of that going around right now because there's just one or two things going on in the world right now, right? Just one or two. Just one or two things because we're feeling that. So when those waves come along and it feels like a tsunami is going to take you over, I suggest you get out your Source surfboard. Okay? Make sure it's polished and ready to go. I don't know how to surf, but I know we all could do this. I know we could. Because God's got us. So you get on there and you go, I've got this. Remember? We're like the wave in the ocean. We are never separate then. So you get on that wave and you just say, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to surrender. I'm going to surrender. And I'm going to allow God to help me find my way back to shore. To have my feet, my essence, my soul firmly planted on holy ground. Peace be still. To allow your physical body, your mind, your heart, your soul, every aspect, every cell and fiber of your being to be washed and cleansed and blessed in that beautiful, peaceful energy. So that you, again, being a steward, we're here to be of service. That's what we're here for, so that when you're looking to do that, you're energized, you're elevated, you're uplifted, you're expanded, and I promise you, your physical body will be feeling differently. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. God just said that, by the way. I guarantee it. I'm going to share a quote with you from the Dalai Lama. It says, we can never obtain peace in the outer world, that's what I'm saying here, until we make peace with ourselves. So even as I'm speaking this morning and you're hearing my words, whatever thoughts are wafting through your awareness, you know, maybe you're already aware of some things that you're out of alignment with, that are not sitting right with you, and that you need to address those. And I think that our spiritual practices are truly central to how we can strengthen our resolve, how we can become more efficient or expedient, if you will. And I don't mean so much in a hurry when I say that, but I mean to where when something happens, we're able to see. I should have brought my heart glasses for those of you who know me, yes. So we can see through that lens of love and know that what is happening here, that there's something else at hand. My talk last week that we were being called, remember I was answering the call last week, there's something else happening here that we are called to pay attention to. And maybe it is simply just being the peace troubadour in that moment. Maybe it's simply just knowing peace is flowing through me as a river. And that very presence is all I am called to do in that moment. As I said earlier, it's not that I have to run out and fix anything or make something happen. I can simply allow that to flow from me. We want the world to be different right now. I'm sure a lot of us would probably raise our hands about that because it feels kind of wonky. I like that word. It feels kind of wonky. And everybody's shouting this and shouting that. And what I keep bringing myself back to is what this talk is all about today. What the song that you sing is all about. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. How can I stand here and say, that needs to be different and they need to do this and have my laundry list of things that I think need to be changed if I am not willing to do my work first? If I am not willing to be open to that change. And having the vigilance to be so mindful that yes, I'm committing. There's that commitment word. Oh, nobody left yet. That's good. You know, what am I willing to commit to? You know? Perhaps, sometimes I'll slip in the word, how about a covenant? You could use that word instead of commitment. If commitment's kind of scary, right? You could even say it's a covenant. It's an agreement with God. It's an agreement with yourself, which is really God expressing as you, but it's a covenant. However you want to language it, I don't really care. God doesn't care. It's that you stand in your truth and you live your life in such a way that your presence goes with you everywhere you go. I think Oscar Wilde, one of my favorite quotes by him is, "Who you are speaks so loudly that I can't even hear what you're saying." Oh, feel that. So when you step into a room as the Christ light, and that energy is just broadcasting and beaming off of you, and you're like the lighthouse in the ocean, so that others can find their way. I don't think it gets any more peaceful than that. Because what you are doing is what you were created to do. And there is peace in that place. It's such a beautiful, beautiful experience. And I'm sure that each and every one of you have known that feeling at least once in your life. If not, I saw one head nod. Okay, maybe not, but I'd like to think so anyway. So I want to finish with actually a reading from Michael Beckwith. Many of you have heard of him, I'm sure. I met him several years ago when he spoke at Unity North, when I was there on their ministerial team. This book is called The 40-Day Mind Fast Soul Feast. I'm like, let's go to the buffet. I'm ready. Okay, ooh. Okay. A guide to soul awakening and inner fulfillment. Okay. There's a quote that it starts off with by Howard Thurman. "When with deliberate intent I have turned my back on truth and peace, thou hast searched for and found me. I cannot escape thy scrutiny. I would not escape thy love." Let me just feel that one kind of wash over you. Very nice. Peace, habitat of the Spirit. Peace is a quality of the Spirit that is everywhere present. Peace is what you are called to reveal first within your own consciousness and then in your world. That's basically what I've been saying to you this morning. Thoughts and actions born of the inner peace of your soul are in alignment with the laws of the universe. Law really means love. It's essentially the same thing. All of the peace that you could ever desire is already within you. It saturates the universe and everything in it. You contact this peace through meditation and affirmative prayer. What does that sound like? Unity principle? Good job. I was going to have a test this morning, right? At first, your meditative silence may seem empty, punctuated by interludes of distracting thoughts. I know I'm not the only one probably, or maybe I am. Try to meditate. Do you ever have your thoughts go by? And most people, since I teach that, I immediately let people know meditation is not about stopping your thinking, because good luck with that. We have roughly 90,000 thoughts a day, so it's really about noticing and being present. And again, we need to do a workshop on that, perhaps, Louise. Okay, where was I? At first, your meditative silence may seem empty, punctuated by interludes of distracting thoughts. Continue to sit until the silence is transmuted. That's one of my favorite words. Transmuted into stillness. Peace, be still. Right? If you persevere, you will be lifted into a state of rapture. You remember a few moments ago when I was just like, oh, it's like out of body? That's basically what I'm talking about. Rapture. Even now, it is calling unto you. Its voice remains subtle until you attune yourself to its transcendent vibration. That's what starts to happen. When I said earlier, you go into a higher vibratory experience and you transcend a lot of this so you can truly have a higher understanding, a knowing of what's happening. The Spirit is so humble that it will not force itself into your awareness. You want to invite. Like I said earlier, when you're open, that's an open invitation. And the universe is like, duck, because here I come. The Spirit is so humble that it will not force itself into your awareness. But what great joy it is and knows when you willingly, remember I said willing, desire and willingness earlier, willingly enter the temple of bliss within your own soul. You are this beautiful temple, sacred and holy. Throughout this day, so this is to kind of leave you with this. Throughout this day and every day, stop frequently to breathe and touch that place within you that is the peace that surpasses all understanding. Let it be carried on the wings of your thoughts, your words, and your actions. Through calmness, which is like equanimity, I had mentioned that in the description of my talk today, so we can move through life with equanimity and clarity and appreciation. Let it be carried on the wings of your thoughts, words, and actions. Through calmness, keep your mental and nervous systems relaxed so that they may catch the intuitive guidance whispered to you by Spirit. Peace is another way of practicing the presence of God. And that's why today this talk was all about peace. It's a portal to transport us into that ineffable space of presence. Breathe into that and know how beautiful and amazing each of you are. And you are here to continue doing amazing things in only the way that each of you can do it. Be the peace, be the love, and let your amazing God light shine. Thank you guys so much.
introducing yourself there, Miss Jeanie. Thank you so much. You know, when you're sitting up